Grr, arg.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mixtape Podcast, a podcast where we talk about movies from a screenwriter's perspective. I will be your host. My name is Dean Stark, and I am joined, as always, by my co host, Marcella Enestroza. Up this week, we have one of my favorite childhood movies that I watched so much when I was a kid. We are doing Gremlins, released in 1984, directed by Joe Dante, written by Chris Columbus. If you haven't seen it, it is about this. After receiving an exotic animal as a gift, a young man inadvertently breaks three important rules. So, the opening scene, we start off, it's in voiceover, and we meet Rand Pelter, and he says he was in Chinatown. He's trying to find a present for his kid. He enters like a cool looking ancient antique store, and this is, he walked into that store. I'm like, that's right up my alley. I would be in there for fucking hours. Anyway, it's run by this like old Chinese man, and Rand hears an animal making noise behind him. And he goes and he has a look at it. And we don't see what it is yet, but it begins to hum a really, really sweet tune. And Rand just smiles, and then he tells the Chinese man, I want to buy this. And the Chinese guy goes, no. And the guy goes, Rand goes, I'll give you $200 right now if you give me this. And the man says, the mogwai is not for sale. And then he says, you said everything in this store is for sale. He's like, yeah, except that. That is not for sale. I don't know why he would even have that out there. I would have this little dude out the back. Anyway, this is not the movie. It's not a complaint. I'm just saying. I would have the little dude out the back. Anyway, a young boy that works there says to Rand, wait outside and I'll bring him out to you in a cage, because he says they need the money. He goes outside and he gives Rand this little thing, furry thing, which we still haven't seen yet. And the boy tells him, you have to be careful because there are three rules to follow with the mogwai. So the first rule, keep him out of the light. He doesn't like artificial light, but sunlight will kill him. The second rule is keep him away from water. Do not get him wet. We'll find out why you can't get him wet. And the third rule is never, ever, under any circumstances, feed him after midnight. I would have liked a scene where we went back to the old man at some point and he like explained the rules and like where this little mogwai came from, but maybe that's the mystery of it. I'm just looking at it from an adult's perspective. Anyway, what do you think about the opening scene?
I love the opening scenes of this movie. Look, Dean and anybody who listens to our show knows that I don't particularly like voiceover. The only time that I like voiceover is when it's used properly. And I think that it's used properly. Christopher Columbus does a great job of introducing us to the main conflict of this film, with this guy going into this old store looking for something for his kid for Christmas. Now, I love the design of this little shop in Chinatown. There's so much cool stuff in there. Like, I know that he was there to pick up Gizmo, but I would have loved it if he would have like spent like 20 minutes just just playing around in the store. But I think that this was a brilliant way to introduce the story and to introduce the mystery of what this guy, by the way, this guy is like the worst father ever. He's like never
Oh,
around. And he's like a fucking shitty salesman as well. He's a shitty salesman inventor guy, so he sucks.
I don't
Like
understand why he's
like
even in the movie.
because he's never there. He's
That's,
never
yeah.
there. And also, and look, that's a bone that I have to put. That's a bone that I have to pick with this movie. But another giant problem that I have with this movie, we'll get to later on. But to wrap up my opening comments here, I love the way that that the director of this movie, Joe Dante, and Christopher Columbus set up the world to take us through this movie. It was fantastic.
So now we meet Billy. Now the casting on Billy is perfect. He's so innocent looking and he's cute and you look at him and you're like, he's just a small town, like, 19, 20-year-old guy. Like, he's just really likable and really connectable. So we meet him and he gets in his car and it's Christmas, it's snowing, and his car won't start. And so he's like, shit. So he has to walk to work, but he takes his dog with him. Who knows why he takes his dog to work, but he does. His boss kind of doesn't seem to mind. He lives in a small town and works at a bank as a bank teller, which is kind of not the job I would pick for someone like him. I don't know. Anyway, he works with a girl named Kate, who's kind of the love interest, but it kind of develops, but it kind of doesn't. Anyway, we'll get into that. And so he's sitting and he's doing his job. We now meet Mrs. Deagle, who's a lovely old lady who reminds me of the Wicked Witch of the West. She is a bitch, honestly. She's just like not a nice person. She storms into the bank. She pushes the man out of the way that Billy is serving at his desk, puts a snowman's head on Billy's desk, saying, "Your dog broke my snowman. And I want vengeance." And Billy looks at her and says, "Look, I'm really sorry. Like, I'll be happy to pay for the damages. Like, he's just really sweet." And she's like, "No, I don't want money. I want your dog." And he's like, "You want my dog?" It's just like, what? No, he like, there's always got to be one. There's always got to be one. So she says she wants to put the dog to sleep. Right, this is a snowman that's like the fucking snowman. Right, she wants to put the dog to sleep, and the dog is there because the dog's under the desk because he took the dog to work, and the dog hears this and then unties himself and jumps on Mrs. Deagle and basically attacks her. And you know what? Rightly so, but it kind of pushes forth that the dog is vicious. But the thing is, the dog thing doesn't really come back again. I mean, look, watching this from a screenwriter's perspective, it's a fantastic kids movie. It is. It's a great movie overall. But if you look at it from a writer's or a screenwriter's perspective, there are a few things that don't quite connect, but they don't have to because it's just a classic. Anyway, thoughts.
Mrs. Deagle can fucking rot in hell. That That
Yeah.
character is so that character is so bitchy, like, from moment 1, when she popped up on screen and went into the bank and complained to this 19-year-old kid that she was gonna have his dog put down because his dog attacked her fucking snowman. I mean, come on. Get a fucking life, you greasy old hag. I are you are you fucking serious? And this movie does not have too many leaps of faith for me, but the one leap of faith that really bothered me about this movie is that there's no way that a 19-year-old kid would be a teller at a bank. Like, seriously? This kid came off to me as somebody who should be going to college or somebody who should be finishing college and not working at a bank. Like, there were so many things about his character that didn't necessarily fit for me, and that's why I kind of agree with you with your opening statement that Christopher Columbus just put certain traits into his characters because he needed to, and he didn't really think them through.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you give a character a job, the job has to have a point and a purpose, either to tell you about that character or to come back later in some knowledge that's going to help the character out of a jam. So that never came back. We saw him at work like 2 times, but he should have been working in like a video store or a shop or a comic store or something that could have helped him out when kind of
A,
shit hit the fan.
a video store would have made more sense because if he worked at a video store, when shit hits the fan, he could have watched movies to deal with the quote unquote gremlin issue that he was going to have later on in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also Christopher Columbus sets up his dog to be like this vicious thing. His dog does attack the old witchy fucking bitch in the bank, but like Dean said, that's it. His dog is never shown again to be vicious throughout the course of the movie. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, what's that, Christopher Columbus? Did you just do that just to push the scene forward and just to wrap it up? Or did you have something bigger to do with the dog and you just forgot there?
I think you just forgot. Shit, there was a dog thing I forgot to put in the script. This scene was a bit of a nothing burger for me. Like we're at like a bar, and Kate works at the bar too. She works as a teller with Billy, but she works at the bar. And we meet Gerald, that also works at the bank, but he's a little bit higher up. And he's a co-worker of Billy's, and he's obsessed with status, money, and power. And he asks Billy, "Where are you going to be in the future? I'm going to be partner in this bank in 5 years. And where are you going to be?" Like basically insinuating like he's a nothing. And then he tries to hit on Kate, who like is totally repulsed by him. And then we find out that Billy supports his whole family on his income. This was a bizarre scene because Gerald never comes back, and what he's saying to Billy never manifests into any kind of trauma. And did we need to know that Billy supports his whole family on his income? Like, there's no way he can. He lives in a massive house. Like, I don't know, the scene was just really disjointed for me and didn't really have anything to do with the overall story of the Gremlins.
This scene served no purpose except for one, for introducing the love interest. And that character who was giving Billy a hard time and who was giving Billy a hard time and basically throwing it in his face that he was going to be assistant manager of a fucking bank in a couple years and be a fucking millionaire, which doesn't happen, folks, in real life. Just because you are a fucking manager of a bank doesn't mean that the money's gonna come rolling in. And the other thing that is impractical about the scene is there's no fucking way, like Dean said, that a 19-year-old man can support a family. Are you fucking kidding me? What the hell? What the hell? The the only reason why I think Christopher Columbus put that scene in the movie is to sort of explain that that Billy has to be quote unquote the man of the house and has to be the breadwinner because his father is so fucking stupid and every invention that his father makes basically breaks down and he makes no fucking money off of any he makes no fucking money off of any of his inventions. But if if that's to be believed that he makes no money off of his inventions, then how can they fucking live in the house that then how can they live in the fucking house that they live in if it's if we are led to believe that his father, who's an inventor, makes no money?
So Rand brings home the Mogwai as a present for Billy. Now Billy opens the box and we see the cute little furry Mogwai and he's named Gizmo. I always wanted a Gizmo, maybe not a real one, because I didn't trust myself not to accidentally like wet him or like feed him after midnight. Just wanted like a toy. I didn't want them to multiply. Anyway, so the mum goes, "Oh, they're so cute. Let's take a photo." But she takes a photo with the flash on. And Gizmo like freaks out. And then Rand says, "Oh, yeah, there are rules. This is why humans can't be trusted." Oh, yeah, there are rules. Let me tell you what the rules are. But the problem with the rules is Rand was never actually told why you can't get them wet, why you can't feed them after midnight, and why sunlight affects them. This is the problem that I have. It's like, I think he would be a bit more worried if he said, "Look, if you get them wet, there's going to be a big fucking problem." And this is the problem. But he was never told. And if you're not told, then you don't really take things seriously. Anyway, so
But
there's
hold up. I have to interject there for a second. I don't believe that even if he was told, I don't believe that his demeanor would have changed at all because when something happens in a couple of scenes from now, he doesn't seem to be bothered. He doesn't seem to be bothered at all.
no, he's stupid. he Normal people may not be stupid, but he's stupid, yes. There's really, really cute, scenes of Billy and Gizmo bonding and Gizmo's super cute. And I remember thinking, if the rules weren't in place, I'd want one. Like if it was just that, then I'd want one because it's super cute. Anyway, a friend of Billy's comes over and Billy shows him Gizmo and he's like, "Oh my god, this is so cute." So his friend Pete accidentally spills water on Gizmo because his dad forgot to tell him, "Don't put water on him." So Gizmo starts like convulsing and several fur balls like pop out of his back, which is like quite a disturbing scene. Actually, I was watching it, I was like, "That's really gross." And then they turn into little mogwais, 5 of them. So now we know when he gets wet, they multiply. Which again, the old Chinese guy, "Why you got this thing in the front of the shop? You need to have it in the back." But these mogwais, they don't seem nice and cute. They just don't seem cute. Thoughts?
I liked Gizmo's introduction in this movie. I find his design to be so cute and so appealing. Unlike you, when you were a kid, I had a Gizmo.
A real one?
Not a real one, a little robot one,
No,
but I
I'm
had
joking.
one.
Yeah, I wanted one, but I'm in Australia. I don't even think we had them here for sale, to be honest.
Yeah. Like I said, I really like the introduction of Gizmo. I think he's designed brilliantly. I don't necessarily think it was such a good idea for the husband to not explain to the family from the outset, okay, I'm going to give you this gift, but here are 3 things that you can't do with this gift. Like
Mhm.
the husband character in this movie really fucking bothers me. He absolutely
Yeah.
bothers me because he seems to be an absent father. He seems to be out of sight, out of mind. And I fucking hate characters who are constructed like that. When Billy's friend shows up and he sees Gizmo for the first time and he accidentally spills water on him and Gizmo starts to like do a little shimmy pregnancy thing. It's fucking disgusting, but I like the way that the Gremlins sort of have a similar breeding style to Tribbles in Star Trek, because Tribbles in Star Trek, if you if you leave them alone too long, they multiply.
Mm.
And they have a very similar multiplying style as the Gremlins do us. So I found that to be particularly fascinating, but disgusting.
So we see the new Mogwais, nothing like Gizmo. They're like naughty little kids. But Billy's dad, okay, this is an Australian word that I'm going to use, but I'm going to translate, right? Billy's dad is a drongo. A drongo is translated into moron. Okay? So his fucking dad is a drongo. He's a fucking moron. He's an idiot. He looks at these little mogwais and instantly he goes, "We can sell them to make money." And I'm like, first of all, how about the fact that you got Gizmo wet and he made these? Okay, that's number one. Okay, number two, you know when they get wet, they multiply, right? So they're gonna over. You want to sell them to people? They're gonna overrun humans in like months. Like, what do you like? The dad, I just like he looked like an idiot. He fuck. I'm so glad he wasn't in a lot of scenes. I was just like, what the hell is with this dad? Like, he's so vacant and he's so money hungry because he's an inventor. And I'm like, dude, just get a normal job. Your son is a bank teller. You should be a bank teller. Anyway, sorry, I hate the dad just as much as you. Anyway, just rounding out the scene. Billy is sleeping when he hears his dog whimpering, goes outside to see the dog is like strung up in Christmas lights. The dog's fine, but they think it's Mrs. Deagle who did it. But we know who did it. It's not Mrs. Deagle. Mrs. Deagle was planted in the movie as a look over here, it's over here, it's her. But like, look, watching this for the first time in the cinema, you would think it's her because she's after the dog. But spoiler alert, it's not.
See, this is why I said early on, if the Chinese guy in the shop would have told Billy's father the rules of the reasons why you can't do specific things with these gremlins, I think that would have gone right over his head, because the way that he reacts when Billy shows him that uh once you get these gremlins wet, they multiply. The way that he reacts is the way that nobody should react ever. Like, it's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid for him to say, oh wow, instead of being freaked out that my kid didn't listen to me, and instead of being freaked out that we have, way more of these things now, he says, "Oh, we should sell them to make money." Who fucking does that?
Yeah.
Like his father is so detached from reality. I can't fucking believe it. Honestly, I
I
cannot
can't
fucking believe it. I
He's the
cannot
worst.
believe it. Look. To move further onto the scene, when Billy goes outside and sees his dog strung up with Christmas lights, I thought that was a really, really, really cool scene. And to move to Dean's point, I do like the fact that when you're watching this movie for the first time, or when you're watching this movie in the theater, you don't know what's coming. And I like the way that Christopher Columbus set up the old battle axe woman to be sort of the red herring of this movie, to be sort of the villain that everybody's supposed to be looking at, when the real villain is waiting in the wings over here.
So Billy decides to take one of the Mogwais, not Gizmo, one of the other ones, to the vet slash science teacher. He's a science teacher, like, but he's also like a vet. I don't know. And he goes, and he goes, oh, when you put water on them, they multiply. Here, look, I'll show you. And then they put one drop of water on it, and one of the fur things comes out, and the doctor says, "Can I keep one for tests?" Stop wetting them. Stop wetting them.
You know what? You know what? I really like this movie. I thought I still like the movie. I still think this movie is charming. But all I wanted to do while I was watching this movie was smack Christopher Columbus in the face because I'm like, you could have written this movie so much more intelligent, so much more with so much more intelligence.
Mm.
But it felt like to me he fell asleep at the fucking wheel. Like, and not to mention, folks, this movie was produced by Steven Spielberg,
Mm.
Frank Marshall, and Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah,
What the
yeah.
what the holy fuck? Like,
Yeah,
seriously?
it's great, but when you delve deeper into the mechanics of the movie, it's a bit all
Oh
over the joint, but
god.
on the surface, it's
Mm.
great. I still love it.
No, 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 no. This movie is wonderful. It's a lot of fun, but when you look at it, it falls apart under its own weight, I think.
Yeah.
And as many times as I've seen this movie throughout the course of my life, that that fact while I was watching this movie in preparation for this conversation was really distressing to me.
So Billy and Kate, they're walking home when she tells him they're having this conversation about Christmas, and then she goes, "I hate Christmas." And he's like, "Why?" And she gets so, like, defensive about it. She goes, "I don't wanna talk about it. Stop asking about it." And then he's like, "Okay." And then she goes home. Before she gets in the door, Billy kind of sheepishly asks Kate out on a date, and she says yes. Their relationship is not set up. It is not set up. They have had 2 5-second scenes together. The romance is not set up. There's no chemistry because we have not seen them together. I didn't even know they liked each other until he asked her out. I'm like, "Oh, is this the thing now?" And then we go back to the vet or the science teacher, whoever the fuck this guy is, and he takes a blood sample from the mogwai, and I'm like, "Billy, you left a poor defenseless little thing there to do." You know what scientists do on animals? You know what animal testing is? Like, I would never. Of course he's gonna be jabbing him and taking blood samples and shit like that. But don't worry, the mogwai gets his revenge. And you know what? I fucking agree. I fucking agree. But the Billy and Kate thing, it's not set up. It's not set up.
The Billy and Kate relationship happens because Christopher Columbus needs it to happen. And I completely agree with Dean 100%. It's not set up. They have no chemistry. They've had 2 scenes together and fuck all. And as an audience member, we are expected to as an audience member, we are expected to root for this couple when shit hits the fan in just a little while. Bullshit. No, Christopher Columbus, you should have worked harder and you should have built up this relationship.
This scene annoyed me, but it probably wouldn't have annoyed anyone else. This is just my personal thing. So Billy's at home and the Mogwai are hungry, and he looks at his clock and it's 11:30 p.m. He goes, "All right, it's before midnight." So he goes, this is the bit. He goes down to the fridge, opens the fridge, and there's a massive plate of like 20 cooked like chicken legs on a plate. How many people was the mum cooking for? Because it's only her. The husband's away, so it's only her and her son, right? So this is big plate, and it's uncovered. Anybody that cooks knows that if you put something on a plate, you cover it with cling wrap, you cover it with foil, please. Oh my god, I'm like, it's uncovered. It's gonna dry out anyway. That's just my cooking mentality. I'm like, where's the fucking cover? Anyway, he goes back upstairs and he gives the mogwais the food. Gizmo doesn't want any. He's like, nah, I'm not hungry. So he feeds them, and then we cut to the vet science teacher, whoever the fuck he is, and we see the clock says 2:30 a.m. behind him. And so you're like, oh, somebody's clock is right. And then he leaves the room, but oh my god. He leaves a sandwich like just like a ham sandwich next to the he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be back tomorrow." He leaves a sandwich next to the cage. Next to the fucking cage. Next to an open sandwich next to the fucking cage, and the mogwai grabs it. Right? Next to the cage. You understand what I'm saying? Who does that? Who in a sterile environment eats a fucking sandwich while they're like conducting experiments on a fucking animal? I'm sorry. I it sounds like I hate this movie. I don't. And then we switch back to Billy's house and his clock still shows 11:30 p.m. and you're like, "Oh, okay, he's fucked because it's actually 2:30 a.m. So now we know well, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we know that like he's fed them after midnight. But listen, the whole scene with the food thing got me. This was fucking uncovered food thing got me.
The First of all, the uncovered food thing is unsanitary. Because
She was cooking for the whole town
right, like what the fuck was she doing? Cooking for the whole town?
and
Like,
apparently on her
look,
son's income.
yeah, yeah, on her son's income, which is even worse. Wh- Just real quick, when you put food into your fridge, if you don't cover it, bacteria still can leach onto the food, even in the fridge.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Look, the fact that Billy even entertains feeding these people at night, feeding the mugwais at night is ridiculous to me. The open cage, the sandwich that the professor leaves right to the fucking open cage for the mogwai to eat is so fucking stupid. That's why I'm saying somewhere in another universe, there's another version of this script that's written intelligibly. Cause right now, I'm getting so frustrated at the way that Christopher Columbus crafted this story. It's pissing me the fuck off. Like I cannot. It's bothering me. It's physically bothering me right now.
It just gets better though. Just slowly
It
gonna go
does.
up
It
from
gets
here.
stupider. I bet.
So Billy wakes up in the morning to see like these large like eggs slash cocoons in his room and no mogwais except Gizmo. And he's like, okay, where are they? Because so I guess he just assumed that the mogwais were in the cocoons. And his mum comes up to his room and asks him if he fed them after midnight. And Billy says no. And he looks at the clock, and the clock still says 11:30. And he's like, oh shit! And he lifts the clock up, and the cord has been cut. So that's not good. So we go to the vet slash science teacher, and his mogwai is in the same looking cocoon. Now later that day, they all begin to hatch. Poor Gizmo's terrified. Poor Gizmo. Oh my god, I wanted to scoop him up. He's just like shaking, like the animatronics on the Gizmo is just like he's an inanimate object that you just want to cuddle, yes?
Yeah, Gizmo is like Baby Yoda before Baby Yoda was a thing.
Yeah, the original Baby Yoda.
Yeah, Gizmo is fucking great. Gizmo is genius.
So Billy gets a call from the teacher slash vet saying his one has hatched, and Billy goes over there to find the teacher dead, basically. And he hears growls.
That fucking teacher deserved it. He was an idiot.
Oh, yeah, we don't need idiots on earth. Bye bye, teacher. So Billy hears growls coming from like behind the desk, and he moves slowly towards it, and we see its hand reach out and scratch Billy, but we only see the hand, and then it scurries away, so we don't see what it is, but we know it's not Gizmo. Like it doesn't look like Gizmo. The hand looks very skeletonly. So Billy goes to the nurse's office to fix his hand, and the gremlin jumps out at him, then scurries off. But it looks nothing like Gizmo. So this is your first look at the actual like gremlin. Um, it's a really cool design. Once you see it in the forefront, it's really cool. It's creepy. The animatronics are great. The design is really great. It's not too much that it's going to scare kids, but it's enough to kind of go, Gizmo's the good one, and these gremlins are the bad ones. So I thought that the design of the gremlins was really cool.
Actually, my favorite design in the movie is the bad gremlins, is the grown-up gremlins, because I love that the grown-up gremlins basically don't give a shit. And I love that these motherfuckers have claws. And I love that these motherfuckers kill people. I think that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I did too.
But also the way that Billy is handling all this is like, shouldn't there be more like adults being concerned about this? Like a teacher died in the school or wherever the fuck he was, and nobody seems to care. Like things happen in this movie, and nobody seems to care.
No, that's never
Like,
brought back the teacher.
like, like what? But what is that? This town seems like a town filled with old people who just don't give a shit.
Yes. Yes. Well, they're all older. The only young ones we ever saw was Billy, Kate, and his friend Pete, that's a little bit younger. That's it. They're all older people that stay inside all the time. They don't really go out. So maybe no one's noticed the teachers. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, here's
All right.
another good scene. You want to hear it?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Back at home, the Gremlins. Oh, poor Gizmo. They've pinned Gizmo to a dartboard and they're throwing darts at him and they're sniggering. They're laughing. Oh, they're just think it's the funniest thing ever. So the mum goes upstairs to see all the eggs have hatched, and Billy calls home and tells his mum to get out of the house because, you know, they're there. This scene is really weird because the mum goes down the stairs, finds the gremlins causing absolute havoc in the kitchen, which is a pretty fun. It's fun. Like as a kid, I was like, "Yay, fuck the kitchen up." As an adult, I'm like, "Oh my god, you're going in the blender. You're not gonna fuck my kitchen up." Like, I don't think so. Anyway, so as a kid, I thought that was really cool. Anyway, the mum finds the gremlins causing havoc in the kitchen. So she grabs a knife, she throws one in the blender, turns it on, so she kills one. She throws another one in the microwave, kills it. She stabs another one and then goes into the lounge, so that's 3. And there's 5 of them. She goes into the lounge room. One of them is hiding in the Christmas tree, which is really cool, and then jumps out and tries to strangle the mum. Billy comes in and throws it into the fireplace. So that's 4, and now there's only one left, which is Stripe. He reminds me of Billy Idol. And I just find that scene funny because the mum looks like a Susie Homemaker housewife and she's just gone in there. She's not scared at all. She's just like, I'm just going to do this, this, and this. And it doesn't make sense. She wasn't set up to be that kind of character. I would assume her character would run out of the house. I like that she killed the gremlins. I like what she did. I love the scene. It's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie about how she gets the gremlins. But from a writer's perspective, character wise, she wasn't set up to do that, which bothered me.
Nobody in this movie was set up to do anything. So,
Oh, yeah.
so I ask you. So I ask you. With that being said, does the mom's response to dealing with these gremlins who are invading your fucking kitchen surprise you? No, it shouldn't.
No.
But listen, it was a really badass scene seeing the mom dispatch all the gremlins. I mean, my favorite kill was when she takes one of the gremlins and puts him in the microwave and then cooks him.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. But did you notice when Billy's mom is getting attacked by the gremlin, as Billy comes in, he takes a little bit longer to whack the gremlin off of his mom's face. Did you notice that?
No. No, I didn't.
Like he kind of stands back from when I'm like, dude, that's your mother. Hurry up and help her.
Is there an underlying story there?
I don't know.
Billy, because Billy's at home, Billy grabs Gizmo, puts him in a bag, and tracks Stripe, which Billy Idol, to the YMCA. He does. He reminds me of Billy Idol.
Stripe is awesome. He's a dick, but he's awesome.
Oh, he's awesome. He's awesome. So he tracks him to the YMCA, but before he can get him, Stripe jumps into the indoor pool. So we know what happens when you spill like a teensy bit of water on them. So imagine his entire body being engulfed in water. It's like, oh no. This was like when I was a kid, I was like, shit's about to go down. Like I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew it was bad. And it's a really, really cool scene because when he jumps in the pool, the effects they use, the pool starts bubbling, steam starts coming off of, like, it's really, like, as a kid's movie, it's really cool. And it just evokes that feeling of nothing good can come from him being in the pool. So Billy ends up running out because he knows what's going to happen. And now, like, he knows and we know that there's going to be like a fuck ton of them. So Billy tries to warn the cops. You know, in every movie, cops are just so fucking useless.
This is the moment. First of all, just real quickly,
Yeah.
this is the moment when I went, fuck this movie. These cops are so fucking inept and so fucking, I could not stand them. Dean, for the rest of this movie, I was like, you know what? Kill everybody in this fucking town. Nobody's going to
Not the people we've met, no. So he goes to the cops, but they don't listen. They're like, oh, yeah, sure. He even shows them Gizmo. And they're like, yeah, so there's like these things running around. Look, I understand if me myself went into a cop station tomorrow and said there were gremlins running around killing people, I would be looked at the same way. So, yes, it's annoying, but can you really blame the cops for a kid going there are gremlins killing people? You would never believe that, right?
No, but look. I would try and take anybody seriously as much as I could until I couldn't anymore. But even when these cops uh, are confronted with the actual fucking gremlins, the way they behave is so fucking stupid.
They don't believe what they're seeing because
Oh my
it's
god, it's
like,
so fucking stupid.
no, this
Oh
is
god.
not real. There's something happening. Yeah, like the cops are so fucking stupid. So anyway, they don't believe him. They're idiots. And now we see literally hundreds of gremlins running down the street, which is a really cool shot, by the way, and a really cool scene. And they're just causing havoc around town. They're pulling trees down, they're on roofs, they're smashing cars, like they're just like adolescent kids going, let's just fuck this town up. So the gremlins target Mrs. Deagle's house. We don't like Mrs. Deagle, but I wish Mrs. Deagle was in it a bit more so the hate could go up a bit, because when there's a
Fuck
character in
that
a
bitch.
movie and you just like, you know what, I need them to die. And when they die, it's satisfying. Her death was not satisfying enough because like she wasn't nice, but she was only in like two scenes.
I
So her yeah,
I don't
her
care.
death.
I don't
Right. You don't
I'm sorry.
care, right?
I'm sorry. I don't care, but that woman is still a bitch.
Yeah, she's a bitch, but it's just like she didn't annoy me enough where I felt like she deserved to die. So I was like,
Right, right,
her
right.
death was cool, like, out the window in the chair and all that. Like, that was fine. That was fun, but yeah, it just wasn't enough for me. But her body comes flying out the window right in front of the cops, and the cops see the gremlins and they're like, what's going on?
And
Yeah.
and they don't care. And the other fucking stupid thing about the cops is that the cops are relaying all the people on the streets are saying, "Oh, that's this person." I'm like, "What are you doing? What in the holy fuck are you doing? Shouldn't you be trying to help people in your community right now? But instead, you're fucking running like a bunch of fucking cowards." Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
damn
know
it.
what? Usually in kids' movies, cops are stupid. I don't know why they're written that way, but they're not even it's not even like funny stupid. They're just dumb.
Cops can be but like, look, in kids movies cops should be heroes. Cops should be the people
Yeah.
that you look forward that you look for protection in kids
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like
I agree.
I don't, oh my god, it's so annoying. I'm sorry. It's just I
So Katie's working at the pub but she's behind the bar, but she's trapped.
this
And
this is so cool.
this is a cool scene. A lot of the gremlins are there and they're smoking and they're drinking and they're playing
This
poker
is so cool.
and they've got little green poker hats on and they're playing darts and they're just like they're drunk and they're like running into each other and it's just funny. Like as a kid I was like, "Oh my god, this is so fun." Like it is a really
This
really
is
good kids movie. But she's trapped and she's like pouring. They're like they don't talk, but she's like pouring drinks for them, and eventually she kind of jumps over the bar. She has a Polaroid camera and she starts taking photos, and the lights distract them, so she just because she's trapped. She jumps over the bar and runs out and bumps into Billy. And it's basically again havoc on the streets, people running everywhere, and Billy and Kate decide to hide in a store. And then the weirdest part of the entire fucking movie, Kate, I don't know why writers do this. They decide to give characters really deep and meaningful moments at the incorrect time. Like, we're hiding from monsters. Let's just have a deep and meaningful fucking conversation. Hey, not the right time, dude. Anyway, she decides, I don't know why, to tell Billy the story of why she hates Christmas. I don't care why she hates Christmas. Nobody cares why she hates Christmas because it was one thing before and it was never brought up again. And it has nothing to do with the story. So she tells this fucking like weird story about how when she was 9 years old on Christmas Eve, her father went out and he disappeared. 5 days later went by, and Kate went to light the fireplace when she noticed a smell. Now, they thought it was like a dead cat, but then when the police came around, they found her father dead in the chimney dressed as Santa. He had broken his neck and he was just there. Even Gizmo was like, "What the fuck?" Like his face was like, "What?" It's it's super. Now I had to look this up because I'm like, this is so fucking disjointed. And one of the things that I found was the story. Steven Spielberg didn't want it to be in there. He was like, "No, you have to cut that out. That does not go along with the story. And this is a kids movie. This is like a her story is ridiculous." Joe Dante was like, "No, I think it fits. I think we should leave it in. This should totally have been cut. This has nothing to do with anything, and it's horrible. Imagine watching it. I mean, kids don't get it, but I'm like, as if this movie couldn't be any more disjointed. She tells a story nobody cares about. Nobody even remembered she didn't like Christmas, and it has no bearing on the story."
No, I mean, look, when they stopped to have this moment to sort of tell us why Kate hates Christmas, the one thing I said, you'll be proud of me. Hell, the one thing I said out loud was, "Not the time, babe. You should run now."
Yeah, absolutely not the time.
Yeah, but look. I'm not surprised that Steven tried to get this taken out of the movie because it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't work at all.
Yeah,
The bar scene with all the gremlins smoking, drinking, playing cards, that was, like, my favorite scene ever. It was
it's
so fucking funny.
it's so fun. So Billy and Kate go back out onto the street, and it's empty because he says, "Oh, the sun is going to come up soon." I don't know how these gremlins know when the sun comes up, but fuck what they do. So Billy checks out the movie theater and they're all there watching Snow White, loving it, which I thought was fucking hilarious. They're like, "Oh, they just press play on the projector, Snow White starts playing, and they all start singing along with like the seven dwarfs." I thought that was fucking hilarious. So anyway, Billy and Kate go to the basement and turn the gas on and then light some material on fire and run out. Now as they're racing out, they're chased by the gremlins who catch them but manage to escape, and then the building blows up once they're far enough away. So all of them were in there. So yes, the building blows up. They turn around and see Stripe. He left the cinema because he wanted to get candy, and he's like a deer in the headlights when they turn around and they see him, and he's in the window of some store, like collecting candy, and they're like, "Oh shit!" So they go into the department store that he's in to find him. So he's skedaddled, and basically, it's like a face-off between Billy and Stripe. Stripe literally shoots at Billy with a crossbow, and then he comes at him with a fucking chainsaw until Kate, which is hilarious, until Kate turns on all the lights, which makes Stripe retreat like for a little bit until he grabs a gun and starts shooting at Billy. And I'm like, is this a kid's movie? What is this? Like the chainsaw thing? I mean, there's no blood or anything, but I'm like, who said yes to this? And then he steps into an indoor fountain, and you're like, oh shit, like it's water, and it's just gonna fucking start all over again. And then he starts to produce eggs until Gizmo, who's driving a Barbie dream car, which is quite funny, zipping around, he gets to like a blind and pulls on it, letting the sun directly onto Stripe, who dies very, very painfully. That's kind of the third act. But it was funny. The chainsaw thing was hilarious.
No, the chainsaw thing, the gun thing, the arrow thing, like, seriously, the third act of this movie goes fucking crazy,
Yeah.
and I would think, like, how the fuck like, who the fuck thought that this was okay? Like, this is a kid's movie, right?
Supposedly, yes. You would never get away with that now. Can you imagine the outcry?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Listen, and Gizmo driving like a little Barbie car, and Gizmo being the one that ultimately lays the groundwork for Stripe to be killed, I thought was great. But the fact that Stripe left the movie theater because he wanted fucking candy, which doesn't make sense because they're in the movie theater. Shouldn't the movie theater have candy?
No, but there were so many of them, they ran out. All the gremlins ate everything.
Oh yeah, they ran out. They ran out. So,
It was like, fuck this,
so,
I want candy.
so that's why he had to walk across the street.
Yeah.
Oh, but listen, this third act was both annoying, frustrating for the reasons that I said before, but it was ultimately fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a fun time.
Yep.
So Billy's at home, and the old Chinese man from the shop shows up at Billy's house. and the dad's there as well. The dad is so vacant through the story, but he's at home now, apparently. And he says to the father, like, I know you have him. I need to take him back. And then he says, probably, I mean, it is the best dialogue of the movie. He says, you did not listen. You did the same thing you do to all of nature's gifts. You do not understand. You are not ready. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. So the old man puts Gizmo back in his box and he understands what Gizmo is saying. Because Billy goes, you can understand what he's saying? He goes, yeah, I can speak the language. And he says, Gizmo wants to say something to you. And he opens the box and Gizmo pokes his head out and he says, bye, Billy. And I'm like, oh, my heart. Oh, my God, my heart. And it's so fucking cute. And then the Chinese guy just takes Gizmo and walks down the street with him. And that's it. That is the end of Gremlins.
Yeah, the final scene of this movie where the Chinese guy comes back to collect Gizmo, I really don't like it. I thought that Gizmo would have chosen to stay with them. It
That's what I
it
thought.
really it really bugged me. Listen, I do like what the Chinese guy says, that you're not ready for these things yet, but I was like, where do you come off? First of all, you show up at the 11th fucking hour after my town got destroyed. How the and who the fuck are you to take my thing away from me?
Well, he did the right thing because he's not ready, clearly. Gremlins
No.
overrun the town and nearly killed everybody. Yeah, not
Yeah,
ready.
nearly killed him.
And plus,
Not
Gizmo
ready.
calls the old Chinese guy Papa, Dad. So obviously,
Oh
Gizmo
yeah.
would want to go back with him.
I missed that. I missed that. I missed that. I didn't hear that.
So, anything else to add before I go to the trivia?
Nope. Go ahead.
I don't know if you noticed this, but it was the same set as Back to the Future. It was the town, which I
Oh
noticed
my God,
straight
it was Hill
away. It even
Valley.
had
It,
it was a clock, had the clock tower and everything.
I did not notice that.
Mm. I mean, the shops were different, but and I was like, that's the Back to the Future set. I know it is.
Yeah.
My second piece of trivia is originally Gizmo and Stripe were supposed to be the same character, but Steven Spielberg said no. One of them has to be a good guy and one of them has to be a bad guy. We need the audience to get behind the good guy, which is Gizmo. So he separated the
Oh,
characters.
see, that's why Steven Spielberg is Steven Spielberg, because only Steven would think about that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, he's right. He's so right. Each of the Gremlins, I don't know how many they made. Each of the Gremlins cost $30,000 to $40,000 each to make.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But well, yeah. I mean, look, the Gremlins look fantastic in this movie. Gizmo look cute as fuck, and the Gremlins, the evil Gremlins, Stripes band basically, they look fantastic.
Yeah. So my last piece of trivia, this was actually I was like, Chris Columbus, is this a kids movie or not? In the original script for Gremlins, the bad Gremlins were actually supposed to kill the dog and cut off the mum's head. But Joe Dante
Oh, that
said,
would.
no, this is a kids movie. We're not doing that. Oh
Oh
my
my God,
God.
that would have been awesome. Would you imagine if the Gremlins did that to the old fucking witchy woman, the wicked witch of the West woman? That would be awesome.
Now I want to see the original draft because I feel like the original draft of the script would have been fucking dark as shit. That's it. That is the end of Gremlins, our review. We hope you've liked it. We know we've spat on this a lot, but we do really love this as a childhood nostalgic movie. And if you want to subscribe to us, you can subscribe to us. And if you want to like, you can like our channel. If you want to email us, you can email us at themixtapepod@aol.com. Up next week, we have an absolute banger. We are doing James Cameron's The Abyss. So please join us for that amazing conversation that we're going to have next week. And as I say every single week, if someone is kind enough to make you a mixtape, that must mean that they really love you. The Mixtape Podcast is a Balloonhead Productions presentation.